The Strongest Battlegrounds is currently one of the most consistently played and visited games on the Roblox platform, averaging 100,000 concurrent players at all times and having over 4.6 billion total visits. Today, I'll be talking about how the Strongest Battlegrounds managed to achieve this in only a couple of years. The Strongest Battlegrounds first released August of 2022, titled at the time Saitama Battlegrounds, which was likely renamed due to copyright, or so that the game could be titled with a more broad topic of a Battlegrounds game rather than a game based around an anime, similar to how Blox Fruits have done, and the game only had a small player base in the grand scheme of Roblox, sitting on about 10,000 players, or much under that at times, which is nothing compared to its current success. So how did the Strongest Battlegrounds get to where it is today? Well, first off, the game's seen major quality improvements since its release in 2022, and around October of 2023, the game started to hit new levels, but how it hasn't fallen off like other games, like Blade Ball, is unknown to most. The game's replayability is going to be a main talking point, as in essence the game is a base plate where you hit the 1, 2, 3 and 4 buttons and the moves are executed for you, and it doesn't really have any innovation in the field of battleground games. For example, games like Anime Battle Arena offer a much wider variety of characters for the player to pick from, alongside multiple other advantages it would have over a game like the Strongest Battlegrounds, such as the very competitive rank ladder with monthly resets, far more game modes to play in the public lobbies, and even extra fun items such as cosmetic skins for your characters, giving you way more to actually play to achieve, but somehow it has mere fractions of the player count of the Strongest Battlegrounds. But why is this? Well, the game is set up in a very smart way, using a similar method to games like The Pit in Fortnite and Minecraft Hypixel, two games centered around giving the user as much gameplay as possible with as little delays as possible, fast respawn times, no objective, you just keep dropping in and getting kills over and over and over to keep your attention focused on repeating the same task over and over without realizing it. And due to the fact the game hasn't got any further mechanics outside of respawning and killing your enemies on repeat, it means the game can technically never be finished, and there is no reason for someone to stop playing the game if they were enjoying themselves. Similar to what's going on in the YouTube scene at the moment with the meta of fast-paced editing that YouTubers like MrBeast have been trying more of in recent times, with fast jump cuts and many edits to make sure that their audience stays entertained and engaged with the content and doesn't click off. And this is the way they are competing with short-form content farms that flood the user with hundreds of different pieces of content to keep the user death scrolling without realizing how much time they're wasting. Now, with the YouTube talk, I'm getting a bit off topic, but it is a similar concept to how the Strongest Battleground works. Keep the user entertained without any pauses of gameplay or any breaks, and keep them constantly involved in action. And even though the game hasn't innovated the space of battlegrounds, they still have inspired many projects that have had success recently, such as Jujutsu Shenanigans and 7 Deadly Sins Battlegrounds, trying to create a similar concept to what the Strongest Battlegrounds currently has going on. But another big reason the game has managed to see success is due to the neutral popularity of One Punch Man, alongside how the game mentions the One Punch Man theme in the title. What I mean by this is that One Punch Man as an anime is super popular globally, but it also doesn't really have any haters. In anime, a lot of shows have big rivalries amongst fan bases, such as fans of the big three constantly debating which of the three shows is the best, which is obviously One Piece by the way. And most shows attract some form of haters, but One Punch Man doesn't really have many people who go around claiming to be One Punch Man haters. The animation is clean, it delivers on subtle comedy alongside great fights to watch, and doesn't do anything too complicated. But it does do simple quite well, so people who are fans of all kinds of anime are likely to come and play this game due to the neutral nature of the show. But the game also, titling themselves The Strongest Battlegrounds, a retitle from Saitama Battlegrounds, makes it seem like a normal game and not a game based around an anime, which lets them attract an audience of people who may not have watched the show, and more than that, it may help attract Roblox's biggest audience, which is kids, and kids are more vulnerable to spend endless amounts of time on a form of content that leaves them in an endless loop of doing the same thing over and over again, because children don't really have lives, they don't have hard tests to do or a job or any responsibility, so for them, endless play and action on a battleground game all day is completely normal. And due to the simplicity of having to hit 1, 2, 3 or 4 and seeing a whole move be outputted is simple enough that any child could play the game and enjoy themselves, but the game also doesn't cater towards a younger demographic, meaning that older players can still enjoy the game all the same, which gives them access to every possible person in Roblox's player base, which will always help a game gather a larger audience. Another thing that the Strongest Battlegrounds does that helps keep them getting pushed around the Roblox platform is their control of updates. The updates they bring out never blow anyone away with content, but they also don't fail to deliver on the quality of their content, as they consistently bring out a new character with attacks and cool animations to give the players more things to play around with. But they also lock the next character that they're going to release behind a paywall, giving the users the option to buy a significantly overpowered character at the cost of Robux, which is enticing to many of their players. For the sake of enjoyment and to have something that is relatively exclusive to them amongst their lobbies, as most players probably won't make this purchase, which gives them an advantage or something different to what everyone else has. And when people are enticed with a good medium-priced microtransaction, that helps the game get pushed even more, as it makes Roblox money, and Roblox does like money a lot. So the game will just keep getting pushed infinitely as long as their microtransactions do well in the Roblox economy. But I want to let it be known that this video isn't a hate video towards the Strongest Battlegrounds, saying it's a low quality game, but it's just going over how much of a simple game in concept it is, and how it's reached such success through the use of psychological tricks to keep their players engaged and to stay in the loop of playing their games. Aside from me saying that it's worse than some other Battleground games and hasn't innovated much, one thing that the game has done a really good job of innovating is the quality of the animations for the attacks of the characters, and they clearly work hard on the animations for all the game's updates, despite how simple they are. I do think they could do some more for their game, like maybe change the maps and rather just have a pretty bland base plate with a couple of trees on it. But they could be doing a bit more, but they also want advertising to be doing anything more, so it's not of any fault of their own. But with so much consistent success on such a simple game, if someone else was to take their concept of keeping players constantly engaged with fights and actually innovated the concept a little bit more, they could quite potentially overtake the Strongest Battlegrounds with ease. So that leaves the question on if the Strongest Battlegrounds will be able to remain this consistent with its player count forever, or what the future has in store for the game. But one thing I do find interesting about the game is the fact that in the short span of late 2023 and early 2024, it's managed to explode in popularity, going from 2 to 10k players, randomly spiking towards the end of 2023 in player count, and it now sits on 160,000 players, most likely due to the fact that it's a weekend. But with 4.7 billion visits, it's already the 17th most visited game of the platform, and it's not even the face of Roblox or anything huge. It's not a Bloxfruits, it's not a Brookhaven, it's not an Adopt Me. It's just recently come out of nowhere with its concept, and it's managed to keep everybody in its grips and managed to keep everyone coming back to the game and keep playing. And it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger without doing much extra to the game. Games like Anime Battle Arena, for example, that I keep using as a reference, they have to have huge updates and reworks to their characters to bring players back to the game because they often die. But the Strongest Battlegrounds never really has to do anything like this, and they haven't really innovated their concept much since coming out. They just keep dropping the same simple updates over and over again, and it will be interesting to see how long this lasts and if the game starts to decline in the future. But that is all I have to say about the Strongest Battlegrounds. I do not hate the game at all. This isn't a negative video. It's just interesting as a simple concept game has been this successful. Thank you for watching. If you did enjoy, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you disagree with me. That is fine by me. Thank you for watching. That is all.